This podcast is being brought to you by Stamps.com. Never waste another minute of your life at the post office, please. Now with just your home computer and a printer, Stamps.com can do it all. Also brought to you today by GoDaddy.com, simply the best for all your .com registration needs. The most well-known because they're the most trusted. GoDaddy.com. And of course, that's right, a third sponsor. Today, the terrific folks at ManGreat.com with their amazing grill enhancement system. Now you can have steakhouse quality in your own backyard with ManGreat. Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. Today, Chat Show number 150. There, I said it, fucker. Please be seated. Where is the fucking balloon drop? You know, they make a big deal about the century mark. What about the century and a half? The $1.50.
Sequicentennial? Something like that?
Nicely done, Sammy.
Thank you.
Thanks for justifying your existence here once again.
You know, I try at least once every week.
Every Sunday I wake up thinking, will Sam be there and what will he say? That reminds me why I love him so.
No.
Little Wolverine, are we allowed to call you that on this show?
I don't see why not. It seems to be my podcasting moniker.
Doug Benson, love him dearly. So welcome back. Exciting week since I saw you last. Went back to the New York. Is there a panic going on out there? Or is that just...
Yeah, there was a little problem with the sound and stuff.
Is
it
there?
Seems like it's back now. In fact,
it works now.
My family literally just tried to call me on my phone.
But what happened?
I did not answer, and it seems like we're fine.
Oh, okay. This is show 150, as I said. Very excited to have you back. Happy Father's Day. Let's just get that out of the way. Happy Father's Day to all you terrific fathers, as I wrote on Twitter earlier. Thank you for looking out for us. And for you bad fathers, go fuck yourself. All right. I lost mine about 10 years ago. He was a terrific pops. A couple stories about Dad in the book coming out. I'll tell you more about that. How I slept my way to the middle. It's a marketable title. Just back from New York, where we're honoring the Thomas of Cruise. You know, we've gone on ad nauseum, so it's no longer dropping names on the show when I talk about Kid Cruise. But I told the Penn story at the big honoring of Tommy. The Friars Foundation have had the Icon Entertainment Award only 3 times prior. Douglas Fairbanks, not Junior, Douglas Fairbanks, right?
Yeah.
Cary Grant, Frank Sinatra. So they were honoring Tom Cruise, and I was one of like 4 or 5 speakers at the thing, and famous people sang, and it was Alec Baldwin hosted. It was a thing. It's a real thing.
It's like better than
So
the Kennedy Center.
I told the Penn story, which has probably been told, 6 times on the show by now?
At least.
So I won't go into it again. But he was very touched, and couldn't believe I still had both pens.
Well.
Yeah, couldn't believe it. But I got to do this move. I'm happy to say I still have both pens. And I was right. No one else has a better story involving a pen. But I still have both, one of which sits in a triangle-shaped teak box on the mantle next to an empty triangle-shaped teak box. The first one came in, and then I pulled this out of my tux jacket and said, the one I write with every day. Come on! And then Alec Baldwin just crossed me. I said, follow that, motherfucker.
Nice.
He went back out.
Nice.
And then I explained afterwards, that's the thing comedians do to each other. And then later in the evening, he said, listen, you got to wrap up the show, because I got to go have dinner with my fiance and have the greatest sex I've had in 25 years. Follow that motherfucker. So he won on the follow that motherfucker of the night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yoga instructor.
Yes. Yoga instructor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Her parents cashed in at the Gene Pool Lotto. I needn't go on any further. Mm-hmm. So Tom was very nice, and then hosted us on the set the next day, which was also very sweet and cool.
Oh, the set of what?
A motion picture called Oblivion. Same director as Tron. which was his first. That was his directorial debut. This guy, he came from
Commercial.
commercial before that, architecture, which I found
Yes.
very
I'm sorry,
interesting.
do you mean Tron Legacy?
Yes, Tron Legacy.
Thank you.
Not
Yeah,
Tron.
no, he didn't do the 70s.
80s.
What year exactly?
Tron? 80, I think. 82?
I would say 82.
I'll look it
This
up.
is the game that these two
I think
played.
it's 82.
I would say 1980 on the nugget.
Starman was 80, so it couldn't be that.
Why couldn't Starman?
He didn't have Starman and Tron come out the same year.
What do you mean he?
The Jeff Bridges.
Right.
82.
Oh, all right.
I think you know what? This is why we have guests on the show and not just you two.
Right.
So that
Thankfully.
so that the guests can get involved and then be corrected.
Starman was
Yeah,
84.
I'm sorry, by the way,
wasn't
I'm just a disembodied voice.
That's all right.
Chiming in about Tron. I'm
listen.
already doing your show wrong.
We're teasing. We're teasing the guests. Also, congratulations, as much as it is dismay to our own Jamie. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Kings.
I'll have you know when the Penguins play the Kings, we won.
We went to one hockey game
So
this
there.
year. It was when the Penguins came to the Staples Center and
Yes.
beat the now Stanley Cup winners.
So there. I have
LA
that going
Kings.
for me.
Yeah. So the Penguins have that going for them. Later tonight, I will sip from the Stanley Cup.
Wow.
I'll tell you more about that in 2 weeks when we return with Phil Rosenthal. We have next Sunday off. I don't want to talk about it beforehand, other than to tease that. I'll be sipping literally from the Stanley Cup later tonight because it's being delivered to a friend's house. It doesn't get more obnoxious than that.
Well, you're not kidding, are you?
No, I'm actually
Ah,
not.
you son of a bitch. Well, hey, I was talking about this with a friend of mine the other day.
Yeah.
How many diseases do you think currently live on the Stanley Cup? Because that thing is being manhandled by so many sweaty hockey players, so many sweaty
I've seen
Canadians and
photos.
Russians.
Remember those photos that I
Floating in the
showed,
pool.
in Lemieux's pool.
In Lemieux's pool.
Like you had
Last-
it in the last time in 08, 09 when the Penguins won. It was in they're swimming with it in the pool.
Yeah. Apparently
And
the team is
switching
allowed to do anything, Sammy, so you're not wrong.
All right.
That thing has semen and everything, just
Yeah.
all over it. I
All
would
over
think.
it.
Yeah. But it's been in and out of the Penguins pool.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure the chlorine took care of some of it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then it went back. It was Boston last year, so then now it's just covered in beer and vomit. Yeah. So you're right. I'm not going to sip from the Stanley Cup. I will take a photo instead. Thank you, Sammy.
You're very welcome.
Another reason you're here.
Well,
You and your hermetically sealed pants. All right. So, and also, we've asked you to write to us at contact@kevinpollexchatshow.com. Tell us how you watch the show. Ask us anything under the Ask Kevin guise. And also offer up your Larry King game. If you offer up a winning Larry King game like we do have today, I will send you a T-shirt, a Kevin Pollak's Chat Show T-shirt, you son of a bitch. So include your mailing address and your shirt size, which today's winner did. His name, Stephen Sansom. Sanson, not Sansom, Sanson. I smoked a little of the Mary Jane the other day. My wife made a brisket. I pounced all over that motherfucker like a puma on a snow bunny. Honduras, Illinois, you're on. That's this week's winner, just to show you what we're choosing from.
That was written? Someone wrote that and sent that in?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just a ghost haunting your set.
Please write to us at contact@KevinPollakChatShow. Congratulations, Steve, for that sweet middle-of-the-road offering that I was forced to share today because we've had such few to choose from.
Ouch.
That's my way of thanking our, it really is awful when I have to be so painfully honest. I do want to thank our followers on Twitter who continue to book this show. Today's guest was basically booked through Twitter because there was some conversations going on, and then I went after him a little bit on the Twitter. We'll talk about that. But a lot of our fans will yell at celebrities on Twitter, hey, at LeVar Burton, our very first guest, was booked through the Twitter. So feel free to yell at your favorite famous fucker, and get them invited to this very desk by tweeting their @name and demanding that they be on the show. Our latest, by the way, David Copperfield, booked him this way. Join our foot soldiers, tweet your asses off. Thank you. Please remember to include a clickable link to our site so that these invited motherfuckers might check it out, the show. But thank you all very much for participating thusly. Jamie, Sammy,
yeah, buddy.
kids, have we shared enough?
I just want to quickly wish my father Dr. Harris J. Levine,
Oh,
a happy Father's Day. Send more money.
strange. Strange. The rest of us got to hear the last part.
What?
Yep. Nope. Jamie, you want to share your conversation with the zipliner known as Jim Fox?
Jim Fox, my father, 72 years old, went to Costa Rica with a bunch of his cronies for 10 days, and they went ziplining.
Yeah, ziplining at 72.
And
Always
of course,
a good
like they all have nicknames. Like my dad is the Fox, and then there was what was the
Cadillac Joe?
Cadillac? No, wait, no. What was his other friend? Cadillac Eddie. Thank you.
Cadillac
Eddie, Rabbit, and Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead. And no idea what.
Pumpkinhead's just a fat guy, so then they call him
Nice.
Pumpkinhead.
Sure. What else are you gonna call
But
him? They call him Fat Guy.
Rabbit and Pumpkinhead were not interested in the zip line. But Jim Fox and Cadillac Eddie went for it. But I'm sorry, I can't even tell the story.
The story was.
Because Cadillac Eddie was like, okay, I'll do this. But like when he got to the first zip line, he was like scared shitless. And then, once you're committed, you're committed. Like you can't back, there's no you can't not do it. So he had to go through like all 9 of these zip lines. And these are like men in their 70s. And
Whoop, whoop, whoop. He would start to throw up, making that sound.
He would get so nervous that he almost vomited, and he would just go,
Whoop, whoop.
But hearing my dad retell this story this morning, I'm sorry, I'm doing a horrible job.
Oh, no, you're not.
Because I'm just laughing again.
It was so fantastic because
Right.
South Park just did an episode about this
Oh, yeah.
like 5 weeks ago, where the boys go on a zip line thinking this is going to be great, and it completely sucked. And it sucks within a minute, and you have to go on 9 more.
And it was exactly that, too. They were in a big group, and there was like 9 of them, yeah. And
The worst. So happy Father's Day to Jim Fox as well, and Dr. Harris Levine.
J. Levine, DDSPA.
Sorry. Nicely done. All right, and thanks for checking us out on Talkin' Walkin'. I've taken a couple of weeks off, but if you enjoy Christopher Walken, and you know that when you Google the sentence, Christopher Walken impersonation out of 117,000 search answers, mine comes up first.
A dubious honor.
The buffering gag doesn't work. There it is.
Doesn't work.
You're not buffering. Yeah, it's the queerest brag in the history of man. But so now there's a podcast dedicated to it called Talkin' Walkin'. Check it out at talkinwalkin.com or on iTunes. Walkin' spelled like talkin' with an I-N, so his family can't sue me. I'll be recording a new one on Monday with Nick Searcy. You know Nick Searcy? Wonderful actor. Love Nick.
Sure.
All right, so check that out. Also, thanks for your great reviews. You've been very kind to us, and feel free to write more. Yes, I believe I've covered everything. Thanks to our 3 sponsors. I'll tell you more about them in the body of the show, as is our agreement. I'll just go ahead and introduce our guest now. I actually wrote down a little brief intro. No, didn't. Fantastic. Luckily, I wrote it down, I think. That's great. During his brief tenure in college, all too brief, a communications professor shared a basic summary of creativity thusly. Everybody, every year, with every new invention, always tries to decide whether its effects are good or bad. And you will find that the final answer is there's always more good and always more bad. Here to discuss this and its conclusions, that there's just more of everything, as well as his discovery that he may be more Abed than Jeff, please welcome the gentle giant of funny, the benevolent big boy of the absurd, Mr. Dan Harmon.
I have so much to react to already.
Yeah.
Where? How did you?
My friend, that's called a dossier, and we don't fuck around.
But I mean, that was. I
might
was
have
like,
said that once?
How am I listening? Yeah, how am I listening to a quote from my communications professor Ken Soviak at Marquette University?
You're welcome.
When did I?
Never mind.
Well, you have Copperfield explain.
Yeah, we know of your time in the Soviet Union as well.
God.
Yeah.
And also the fact that I'm a gentle giant. I'm being sandbagged.
I'm a tiny Jew, so technically everyone's
It's a passive aggressive. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like, how's the weather up there?
Yeah.
5'10" guy.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Welcome, sir, and thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing that you're doing this. That you've done it 150 times. It's amazing that LeVar Burton was your first one. It's amazing that I'm here. You were in Casino. That alone is like freaking me out.
Okay.
Usual Suspects. Grumpy Old Men. Come on.
For fuck's sake.
Now it sounds like I'm being glib, but I told you before we started that I met you. I believe, I'm almost positive I met you when I was probably 16, 17 years old in Milwaukee. When you and
the name of that fair is the Milwaukee Fest?
Summerfest.
Summerfest.
Yeah, where I would work the comedy tent there, and because I was part of a Milwaukee thing called Comedy Sports. So we worked on that stage, but then I just would hang out backstage with my pass that allowed me to do bad short form improv. But I would just hang out back there and met everyone, every headliner that came through, and I would just like grill them, like, and I'm sure I grilled you. What's your advice for people doing comedy and stuff? Obviously, your answer was not memorable.
I don't think I knew then, because it took me quite a while to learn the correct answer is just keep getting on stage.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, you try to be creative and funny when answering a question like that.
Yeah.
But the truth is, put in your 10,000 hours or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just do it wrong. That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Prove that you suck.
Right.
Is great advice, because we all think that we suck. I tell young people.
Prove that
I
you
put that in
suck.
quotes because I'm still young.
Sure.
Yeah. Young people.
And rabbits. Prove that you're young. That's pretty terrific.
Prove that
that you're wrong.
Prove.
Because it suggests we start off with no confidence.
Right.
And now you need to prove that you shouldn't have confidence.
like Daffy Duck tries to prove that he is awesome, and that's why he's a comedic character, because we can see that he is not.
Right.
He is struggling against every fiber of his being. Bugs Bunny doesn't give a shit. But the way to appear to be Bugs Bunny, I think, is to go, you know what? I probably suck. Like Bugs Bunny didn't try to be cool that morning. He took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, and he's like singing weird Depression era songs that we don't know. But he's just hanging out, like drying his hair, dresses as a woman if he has to. He just doesn't care.
Right.
Just prove that you blow. Like why can't you finish your screenplay? Why can't you do stand up? Why? Show me why. Because otherwise you will spend 50 years preparing, and you're still going to suck your first time for sure.
Yeah. Or even if you get lucky and things go well your first time, you'll suck your second, third, and fourth.
If you are great your first time, something much larger is wrong. Like you're just good looking and 16, and you're in for a heavy fall. Yeah, like be afraid if things are working for you. Right away.
Yeah.
I would not. I'm glad that I grew up in Milwaukee and got to I was just a bad writer for 36 years and then got lucky.
Well, that's the way it works.
Yeah, I'm a late bloomer, so I'm having a full life.
Right.
That's my advice to young people. Get old and stay shitty.
Well, there you have it.
All right.
Thanks
Good
for
night.
stopping by. Get old and stay shitty. Did you... Okay, so you did try stand-up, because I remember reading about the improv, but you also tried stand-up in Milwaukee, and that's kind of where you and Schrab first met.
Yeah, I was doing stand-up and improv kind of simultaneously, but I drifted from stand-up to improv. I kept trying to find the how to do the least work. I think I ended up doing,
you're at the right room.
Stand-up requires, it's very strenuous. Like you have to
keep writing,
sit and write shit, and you can't just write a funny joke and then go on stage and verify it's funny. Like stand-up is like diamonds, compressing. I don't know why I'm explaining this to you, Kevin Pollak, but it's hard work. Like you don't get a strong 10 minutes with 10 minutes of writing.
No,
that's like 8 years of writing. So I gave up after 3 months.
Versus I can go on stage and make shit up.
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly.
That sounds
so.
terrific.
If you can do that, also stand-up, you have to really hate yourself, right? Or love
5% of us, total narcissists.
Yeah,
and suffer from "hey, look at me" disease to a point where I need clearly to be on stage.
But self-loathing is narcissism, right? It's self-obsession, like it's narcissism. If you're staring at that reflection in a river, I don't care if you're saying, "Oh, I'm so fat," or "I'm so beautiful." Like you're still, narcissism is just like, get a load of this guy. Yeah, so fascinating.
In my case, I think, to be honest with you, I just thought I was quick. I got validation at such an early age, 5 or 6 years old. So there was this essence where I could do something and get a laugh. So
Right.
it was more about getting attention,
Yeah.
kind of narcissism, than staring into the
Were your parents kind of unconditionally loving?
Absolutely.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's remarkable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I am like 5%
Yeah.
of the born standing up.
You're a rare. You must be so talented that it just called to you. That sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but because most people, it feels like the stuff that you don't get from your immediate family. Oh, by the way, Happy Father's Day, Dad.
No, if you're just tuning in, I'm about to blame you for everything.
The common dynamic is that you encounter is that. The parents were kind of reptilian,
Yeah.
and then the strangers that came over for dinner were laughing, and so that those people got into it. But I think you're probably more the Martin Short
Yes.
type.
Yes.
Did you go in the
Attic.
and do a little Kevin Pollak show?
Yes.
Yeah. Nerd alert.
A version of it, for sure.
Yeah, you're just one of those obnoxiously talented
comedy albums.
showbiz people.
Obsessed with comedy albums, Bill Cosby's first album, that whole thing, and not realizing I was actually studying timing of masters, just obsessed with the funniness coming out of the hi-fi.
Is your mom still alive? Why am I interviewing you?
Yes, no, we can do it this way.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they love it when I talk about me. Nope. Yes, she just turned 81 like last week.
And she just showers you with love. Does she watch every one of these?
From day one. I mean, I was standing in front of the stereo, lip syncing Bill Cosby as my version of playing, and the house was empty, and she caught me doing that, and her reaction was, "You need to do that at the Zuckers on Passover," which
She's
had
booking
not
you.
crossed my mind.
She got you at the Zuckers?
Yeah.
the Midas
You've
touch.
heard of the Catskills. I'm here to tell you.
Did she take 10% of
The
your
Zuckers.
candy?
She did take 10% of the matzah.
Yeah. My mom was very supportive of the performance aspect of my. I remember my mom showed me a picture once. I don't have it anymore, but it's amazing. It's because it brings back so many memories. I used to, on holidays like Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, anything, I would do this. I was obsessed with Johnny Carson, and I would do this talk show. So there's this picture of me, probably 5 years old, 6 years old, like sitting behind a desk, and I had a little thermos cup and a pencil, and I was like kind of, it would say like the Father's Day show or something, and I would do it. The show made no sense. It was like you're a kid and you're just imitating grown-ups, but I would tell jokes that made no sense and do like desk pieces that made no sense that were based on just puns and things.
But you see how that seeped into your consciousness at a ridiculous young age.
Yeah, it does seem to be almost genetic, I think. Right. I think that a lot of people probably reverse engineer a nurture versus nature explanation of why they are who they are. But I think that's what we do. We create mythology in the wake of growing up. But the truth seems to be that people just get born and they like Hitler's dad didn't kill 12 million people. And
like this, son.
Yeah, it's like Hitler's dad was just some guy. I don't know. Was he a baker? I don't know. If Hitler had a son, it's like he was just born Hitler. Why am I using that example?
It's fantastic.
With you and his dad's a dentist? This is terrible. Why am I going there on Father's Day?
No, why
anybody? I could have said anybody.
No, you
David Copperfield. I could have done a callback.
You went to in my opinion, the perfect. Because listen,
it almost seems like I admire Hitler.
My fantasy is to interview.
You're in Lars von Trier territory.
Great grandson of Hitler, Jimmy Hitler, and see what was passed down through the generations of the family reunions. And I suggested this recently, doing a series of these videos, which we're going to get to work on. Like a relative of any, like Mussolini, and all these terrible.
Yeah.
But somebody said that all the Hitlers had kind of changed their names and dispersed in a way as quickly as possible, which is not shocking.
And the remaining ones actually made a pact not to have children. To kill
Are
the
you kidding?
bloodline. That's totally true.
Wow.
Yeah.
To punch each other in the ovaries constantly?
to not reproduce, to let the bloodline end with them.
That's almost like
It's almost Jim Jones era. It's family.
Really, yeah, it's unwarranted, isn't it? I mean, that level of shame. It's like it's noble for sure, but like
I don't know if it's
give
unwanted.
yourself a break. Like, but it also kind of espouses well, I mean, think of the irony of that. Let's not have children because we're Hitlers and it's in our genes to be Hitler. Well, wait, no, that's I thought that we just finished having this horrible global conflict over the issue of whether or not genetics were that important.
Yeah. Excellent point. Oh, the sweet irony.
But I guess, better safe than sorry. Don't have kids, Jerry Hitler.
I think
maybe it's just like they're looking for that as an excuse. Like, it's like, fuck, I don't want to have kids. We'll just tell everyone we're
That's what
Hitlers.
it is. They were all a bunch of swank bachelors.
Yeah.
Like, all the Hitlers were just like pussy hounds. And they're like, baby, I can't. I gotta do this for the world.
I can't let the bloodline move on. There can be no more of this family damage.
That's what it really is.
Get on me.
Come on.
And you have to take birth control. I can't. Like a condom. My little Hitler sperms are gonna bust through the Schlieffen plan. They're gonna.
That is fucking classic. And what better way to segue into Stamps.com? Can anyone think of a better way?
Hey, writing to a loved one.
Oh my God. Sit there comfortably while I sell some stamps.
What's
won't
your
you?
final solution for today's outrageous postage rates? Why not pop over to Stamps.com? Stamps.com. You think I'm going to keep doing
It all
Hitler
stops
bits?
there. No. I actually have to read this copy. There are very few things that are a bigger waste of your time than going to the post office, especially when you
I'm sorry.
business to
I'm
run.
sorry.
That's fantastic, because they always ask for a copy when you have a business to run. Keep rolling. That's why you need Stamps.com. Stamps.com will not only save you time, but you can buy and print official U.S. postage using your own computer and printer. Print exact postage for any letter or package right from your desk using their free digital scale. But Stamps.com will also save you money. It's a fraction of the cost of a postage meter, plus get discounts you can't even get at the post office. When shipping T-shirts and travel mugs for the show, for example, I no longer have to go to the post office, thank God, said the agnostic. It's so easy to buy and print postage for all of your packages right from your computer and print it with Stamps.com. I can just hand that mail to the mailman. Oh, yeah. Right now, use my name, Kevin, for this special offer. No risk trial plus $110 bonus offer. Includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. That's Stamps.com. And use the code name Kevin when you go to their site to get this free offer. Thank you. You were saying Hitler.
Sorry, I stepped on. We stepped on each other.
No. I know, right?
We couldn't wait to get back to the Hitler.
Damn it. I do want to talk, as we jump all over the place, we mentioned Rob. Schrab.
Rob Schrab.
And you guys worked on this comic book. He was more of an illustrator, and you were more of a funny writer?
Not to exclude him as a funny writer,
right?
Because we both met doing stand-up and improv and stuff. But he's a genius, artistically speaking. That doesn't make sense. Visually, he went to the Milwaukee School of
Genius.
The Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. My ad. And was before it was hip to before they started telling everybody to go into graphic design, they were still telling everybody you should take fine art. Right. He was one of the first people to go like, no, but cartooning is acceptable. That's a respectable, perfectly valid field to go into as an artist. Because this was before the giant comic book explosion in the 90s.
And the graphic novel.
So he started self-publishing his own comic book on his kitchen table. He just started drawing one day. Just decided I don't want to, keep just getting high and hanging out and watching movies every night until I'm 40. I'm going to. He was the first guy I ever knew to just like shake it off and sit down at his kitchen table and start acting like a grown-up in a sense. Like he just drew his own comic book. And
that's slightly inspiring.
Yeah, put it in a binder and was showing it to people. Like, I don't know what to do now. I just did this. And a friend of his, Peter, friend of ours, kind of partnered up with him and handled the business aspect of it, and they started self-publishing it. So then he hired me to start writing scripts for it in later issues.
Right.
Then the movie rights got optioned.
Scud, the Disposable Assassin.
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that? I believe sold to Oliver Stone?
Yeah.
who hates marijuana. And from there, you moved to Hollywood. But I do want to stop for 1 second as we jump around, because you mentioned the illustrating and the comic booking and the artistry of it. You yourself, big fan of the Disney land?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, no, not like Jamie. Not like I know that's why you're bringing it up, because I clicked on her one and it's in her bio that she's a Disney enthusiast. That's weird. I know about those people.
How do you mean weird?
Well, like weird, like something happened to her at Disneyland, or like her. I'm just speculating. Like I didn't. All I saw was Disney enthusiasts. I was like, there's always a story like your dad took you to Disneyland and then just left, or like. I'm making a joke, so if I'm actually like accidentally nailing something, I'm so sorry, but my joke is not funny. But like Disney enthusiasts that are like that go there like 3 times a week and know where all the hidden Mickeys are. Do you know where all the hidden Mickeys are?
Yes, that's why it means so much to me.
No,
Fine acting.
you tweeted that you were there about a month ago or so.
No, like yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Like 2 days ago.
So what do you do when you go there?
Go on the rides. I'm not a Disney freak. I'm
Yeah.
not one of these weirdos. My dad loves me.
Yeah. Again, this is your sense of humor coming through.
We went on like 4 rides because we went on the worst day of the year. It was grad night.
Right.
Disney does this thing where you can.
I went to a grad night myself in high school.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
The worst thing about it was that after spending an entire day of a minimum of a 70-minute wait for any ride, so we basically went on 4 rides. And everywhere there's just like it's not their fault they're obnoxious, it's just obnoxious how young they are. They're not doing anything wrong, but there's so many of them and they're so young that it's just obnoxious. And after all day that compromising your Disneyland experience, at 11 p.m., because we stayed there the whole time to get on 4 rides, we're walking out of the park because we're not allowed to be there anymore. And a guy literally gets on the loudspeaker and goes,
"Get the fuck out.
Get out of here. Except for if you're a high school student, then the evening's just beginning." And all of them started going, "Woo!" And I was like, "Fuck you! You fucked up the whole day. Then come here at 11." If it made me feel so old and shitty. I wanted to. If I had a cane, I bought a cane at the gift shop just to shake at them. A Donald Duck cane. I hate young people.
That happened to us. Kenny and I went a couple weeks ago, and it was the same thing with grad night. And we just got pushed out by all these kids, because what they're doing now is they used to just shut down the park and let them come from midnight to through 6 a.m. or something. But now they're mixing them in with the actual day guests, so it's just screwing us over.
They should. I mean, honestly, you're not getting what you paid for if you go to Disneyland.
And
at
you also
3 p.m. on grad night.
Didn't you guys go on Friday or something?
Was it Friday?
Thursday, because they also just reopened this giant part of California Adventure just opened on Friday too.
Yeah, the Cars.
The Cars land.
Yeah,
so.
When we were there, California Adventure was closed down.
Yeah.
But so what she's saying is they're allowing the kids in at 3 p.m. It used to be 12 to 6 a.m. where you didn't disturb.
That's what they should do. Go ahead.
Take over the park and everyone leave.
If Disneyland's making money and the high schools that are paying for this are keeping the kids from getting pregnant and doing heroin or whatever they think is not happening on the riverboat. Then where's my profit? What did I do wrong? I showed up and bought a ticket, and I'm knee deep in testosterone. I got kids all over me.
Well, wait a second. There are going to be kids at Disneyland.
Well, I think that's unacceptable.
Okay.
Is
it just high school? That's the problem?
Yeah, I mean,
the 11-year-olds are
these
okay?
horrendous 17-year-old girls with their shorts, with their asses hanging. I mean, how dare you? I couldn't believe my eyes.
So glad I brought up Disney. Now let's hop over to what we talked a little bit before the show about what's going on here and blah blah blah. But you, as far back as 2003, I want to say, got involved in creating channel101.com. You talk about the Wild West of the fucking internet. 2003, almost 10 years ago now.
Pre-YouTube, baby.
It didn't exist.
Right.
There was no original content per se.
Yeah, video on the internet was kind of a novelty back then. It's hard to imagine. I feel like, again, so old saying that because it's like hearing my dad talk about the Pony Express or something. My dad's 180. But he
loves you. We
found
that part out.
There was no internet. Yeah, there was no video. Right. It was and to the point where the odd thing is, it's so hard to believe that there was a time like this. But we we had a post office box for submissions. People had to tape their video and mail it to us, to this P.O. box, and there would be like 300 tapes in it. And it was because it was the only recourse. Are you going like this because I have something?
Me. No, often it's to project. In my case, I just laughed and a little something came out of my nose.
Could you feel it?
I promise
I have like a phantom booger. Like I could just feel like something's going to happen.
I think there's nothing wrong with the phantom booger, first of all, which is why I always have this handy, because I am Mr. Phantom Booger.
Stamps.com.
Now, let me ask you something. I just became Milton Berle, literally. Not even Jerry Lewis. I went back to Uncle Milty.
I think that's really funny. Now I know why Milton Berle's famous, finally.
Yeah.
Finally, I
Wasn't
know what
just
he did.
that giant penis.
Who did you hear the urban legend of Milton Berle comparing his dick to? Did you
Brought it on the table.
No, it went into the bathroom, I heard.
Okay.
It was Bruce Willis in the version that I heard. Did you ever hear a story like that?
You would think that I would have heard that from Bruce.
It's a story that I don't even have to tell the story, because you can
Take it from
retro
there.
engineer it when I tell you that the end of the story is Milton Berle walking out of the bathroom after a dejected Bruce Willis and going, "I only took out enough to win."
Yeah, that's the line. I only took out enough
miming
to
his
win.
cigar.
Yeah.
Just put that the booger
please.
down there.
That's perfect. So they were mailing submissions. All right, so you can't email them. There's no YouTube. There's no Funny or Die, obviously.
Yeah, back then, if you lived in Alaska and you wanted to see yourself on the internet, like dancing around in your underwear, you had to mail a tape to us, because we knew how to put it on our website. That's how old the world was.
How many people actually knew how to take a video cassette and put it into the computer?
It was too hard back then.
Right.
It was people were rubbing their tapes on
So
their
when you
computers.
had the idea for it, what access did you have to this?
Well, we were nerds. We just had the. I mean, lots of people were doing. When you would go onto the internet back then, you would basically see like everyone had a blog.
Sure.
And then some people were. Who had bought like a special card for their computer or something like that, and were making these movies and bothering to buy this editing software. You'd see like a little embedded video of them like doing some weird thing, like where they pretended to be a ninja in their kitchen or something. It was all very.
We had him on the show. Ask a Ninja.
Oh, that guy, yeah. Low-hanging fruit ninja jokes.
Yeah.
It's the Abe Lincoln of well, it's the ninja of comedy. But I have no. I'm sorry, I just interrupted you for the sake of it. You can keep talking.
No. The point was, did you have someone in your group who knew actually how the technical side? And then what I loved about what JMac found in the research was how there was like a live audience who would sit and watch these submissions as pilots, mini pilots,
Right.
and then the audience would kind of vote and decide who would become a
That's what we still do. Yeah, we have live screenings every month in Los Angeles, and
You still do that?
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's there was a big swell at first where it was like, oh, this is what the internet's all about. That's when the guys from the Lonely Island, Schaffers and Sandbergs. Was Sandberger on the show?
No, but he was, according to the research, one of the early guys that was submitting videos.
Yeah, Sandberg was doing it. The guys that it was like a kind of like. I liken it to Malibu and the Easy Riders Raging Bulls thing. It was a scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, it was
Nothing
the same.
pretentious about drawing that parallel. It was like 2003, 2004, and yeah, the Lonely Island were out on the sidewalk smoking cigarettes and making videos of themselves in their underwear, and it was the guys that created this, the Blue Mountain State were doing it. Tim and Eric from Adult Swim.
Jack Black is in
Jack
the
Black
mix?
was. I abused my relationship with him and put him in my videos, it was cool. It was like people that were doing it back then. They all kind of like, we didn't teach them anything. It was just cool people that were doing the same thing together, and then they all went off and people slowly realized they were cool.
Right.
It was.
You're saying Jack wasn't cool when he was dressed up as Computer Man?
No. He was. I always put him in his underwear.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Google Computer Man. And,
Or go to channel101.com.
Yeah, if you want.
It's still there.
The beautiful thing is I don't care if they do because it's nonprofit. We don't monetize it at all.
Right. And was that the idea from the beginning?
It became a necessary point of integrity after a couple years of realizing we were never going to make any money off of it. I became very proud of that.
So why not hang something on it?
Yeah, but I mean, there have been since then. I have realized that the nonprofit nature of it is incredibly important to what it is.
Right.
When people go to these screenings, they don't pay $1 to get in. The people whose work you're watching didn't pay $1 to submit. So there's no chicanery going on. There is no. You have to wake up in the morning in Channel 101 and admit to yourself that you're doing whatever you're doing because you want to do it.
Right.
Which is that's the first thing that goes out the window in capitalistic media. It's great that we get paid to do what we love to do, but the problem is that creepy money people. And the creepy money side of us inhibits, the creativity. I think ego and people wanting to be the best, the Orson Welles personality. I think that's cool and really. I encourage 25-year-olds to inflate their egos as large as they can and compete with each other because they're doing it for the audience. The audience wins. That's the way it should be. A bunch of creatives saying, I'm the best, no, I'm the best, I'm better than you, I'm better, because they're like gladiators, and there should be a stadium of people around them winning every time. That's what I really like about Channel 101, because it kind of it's so easy to be jaded when you're in your 20s. You kind of this weird culture to us. And I don't know if that's just a Gen X thing, if that maybe the millennials will phase that out, but it's just that arms folded. Kind of I want to be an entertainer, but I hate it. How dare you? What do you mean? You have to admit that you love people and that you want them to be happy.
Yeah.
If your goal is to perform for them, it's insane to me that people can get away with being dicks and being famous.
Well, it was all transparent insecurity from the beginning.
Yeah.
It became something. It became a way of thinking and a Generation X.
And the audience rewards it, because I think the grunge kind of movement, both in comedy and music, was a necessary reaction to an overfabricated disco era, I guess.
Well, that audience is allowed to feel like they're a part of something new, also,
right.
which is the Facebook mentality, which goes back to what Martin Mull said about show business. It's high school with money.
Right. Yeah, even the Beatles had a kind of affected aloofness to them. I mean, and the kids loved it. So,
right.
That's part of being a star. I get that.
Well, my feeling was once you got to that level where the people with the real deep pockets, be it a studio or a network, decided you were good enough for them and started paying you for your wares.
That was just an accident.
Well, they have almost a savant ability to find the center or the truth of why something's good or funny and add water to that.
Yeah.
To that. But the ability to find its center, I don't think that's a fluke. It's a weird savant ability they have.
I don't know. They cast a wide net.
Well, I mean, they're trying to widen the audience for sure, and that's what's behind this decision, is how do we appeal to the most amount of people.
But I mean, are you saying, am I correct in interpreting this, that you're saying they do find good people? Their ability to do that is uncanny. Is that what you're saying? They're talent detectors. They're able to do it.
No, they're able to find talent, and once they get those talent, they want to actually control their genius. So what they do is they find the epicenter of what they're writing,
right.
The epicenter of what's amazing about what they're writing, and then in order to not dumb it down, but to reach a larger audience, where they start adding water.
Yeah.
But their ability to find the epicenter of why that thing is great.
Yeah.
That ability is actually the scary part to me.
It's weird. Yeah.
In other words, they're not adding water to all of it.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, they don't just want to make shit stupid. Right. They all truly believe that they're in the business of trying to create. Period. But the problem is that their brains are just shaped like little peanuts. They're just warped little tiny little brains, and that they're not creative people. And so it's if you're present at the time when things are being created, then what you're seeing is always going to look like a mistake. The definition of making something means that it wasn't there before.
Right.
That means that you're doing something new. Of course, you're creating something. So it's always, and if in the end what you get looks like just another TV show, good for us. That's great. It's a derivative medium. You know, every TV show shouldn't ask the question, "What is TV?" Like, we want to turn off our brains and watch TV. But I think the inherent problem with big business television and movies with the executives, I think the problem is that they shouldn't be anywhere near where things are being made, right? Because to them it's always going to feel dangerous. They're always going to say, sorry, wait, you can't do that. Like that doesn't look like Mickey Mouse what you're drawing. Yeah, because I'm not done, dipshit. Of course, what does it look like? It looks like 3 circles right now. It's going to look like Mickey Mouse in a little bit. Just shut the fuck up. Go eat a chicken or something.
Yeah. Go back to counting the money.
Yeah. Just like it seemed like there was a purer kind of, I don't know. It's like what happened to Robert Evans? What happened to these suits that are like that were sort of like proud of what dumbasses they were? Right. That knew that their job was an agent of compromise and were kind of like cool with it and actually literally wore suits. Like the word suit is like the N-word now to these people because they wear sweaters now. I just insist on calling them suits, and they always bristle at that. Yeah. Because they've worked so hard to look like just your brother on Christmas morning. And so, suit? I don't know. I don't see a suit around here. Do you see a suit? Oh, take it easy. It's like, come on. But be proud of yourself. You're not a writer. You're not a director. You don't hold a light. No one teaches what you do at any school anywhere. You were appointed this job.
You failed upwards for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know how you got where you are, but you and I both know that it wasn't like there is no class in what you do. That's a big tip-off. Like there is no community college or Ivy League school or high school course that teaches you how to be a development executive. So like obviously this is a refined kind of nuanced position. Yeah. Be proud of that. Own that. Know what you are, and like don't this idea that you're my best friend and also that you're a genius. Like, you're not, man. Yeah. There was this guy. Now that they fired me, I get to tell this story. One of the heads of Sony Pictures Television got drunk enough at a party to tell me his origin story of why he was a suit and not a writer.
Is there a comic book in this? Because this origin story already sounds amazing.
He makes it sound like a comic book, which is so entertaining to me. He said when I was in college, I was going to be a writer. I was good. I was really good. First of all, big tip off that you're not a writer. I've never heard anyone say I was good. I don't think Hunter S. Thompson ever said that. But he was good and he was going to do it. And I told my mom. He said, I'm going to be a writer. And she said, oh, listen, you know what? I support you. I'm your mother. If you're going to eat ramen noodles and you're going to make an average of $75,000 a year, that was his like low figure. Sure. I'll be there for you. I understand you won't work for a long time, and I'll support you through it because I think it. And I thought, I don't want to make $75,000 a year. I don't want to eat ramen noodles. This is him telling the story.
Oh my God!
And then the story culminates in him taking all of his writing to the Potomac River. No. Because he was going to school in D.C. No. And so I'm being him, finishing his story. And I took my writing, and I threw it in the river. Dan, do you know why? Because if anyone had ever found it, they would have forced me to be a writer.
Oh God!
And I didn't want to be a writer.
They would have forced him because he was too brilliant.
Because they would have seen it. Holy shit! You were Tolstoy. You can't withhold this. I demand that you produce shitty television.
Handcuff this man.
I demand that you get to work immediately coming up with the idea for Pan Am. You have to. That's what you have to do. Yeah. Because I haven't seen your writing. Yeah. He's saying this to a writer at a party. This is his way of bonding. He wasn't like he thought that he thinks that that's what a writer is, and he thinks that that's how we bond with each other.
Holy shit.
And that's the shape of their brains, and they. He also told me at one point, I think it was the same party. He said, Dan, a lot of people don't understand the secret to what we do, and they have the wrong idea of what we do. I always say, if you have to change something more than 20%, don't do it. It's not the business we're in. Let the creative do his thing. You could never change it more than 20%. 20%? A human being is 1% different from a watermelon, genetically. You have 20%. A chimpanzee is 99%, genetically similar. There's a lot of differences in 1% of a script.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane people.
Well, I think what they are masters at also is that ego you were talking about that you wanted the 25-year-old creative types to have. These failing upwards, people who become executives, have these most enormous egos that they could never be creative, because a creative person only gets that ego to protect their insecurities. These people actually are that egotistical.
Right. Well, that's why I asked you if your mom loved you and all that stuff, because it's like, it's weird. You're an exception that proves the rule. I mean, your parents showered you with love, or maybe didn't shower you, but
it's a different story.
They gave you what you were entitled to as a human being.
Right.
And yet you gotta
they didn't
shuffle
freak
and
out.
dance and impress people because you want that attention. Usually it's a result of hating yourself.
Sure. Especially in writers, that's for.
And people that are just like, hey man, I'm the shit. Yeah, of course. Like, well, I don't want to read your novel. Right. I don't know though, but yeah, I think
that's a funny sketch actually. Is Tolstoy as a braggart.
I think they're born rich. I don't think there's a lot of bootstrappers turned executives out there. I think they were raised by Dominican nannies and and kind of like bred in tubes and came out with a lot of money and sort of like entitled.
They were the 7-year-old at a party I overheard maybe 15 years ago. One 7-year-old literally said to the other, I guess your dad's film opened soft. 7. Go have a cookie. Stop talking like that and go have a fucking sandwich. You're 7. I guess your dad's movie opened soft.
And it was like a jab. Like the kid wasn't like reaching out to him. It was like it's cool.
No, it was passive aggressive 7-year-old. And how about just say, I hear your dad's movie didn't open well. That's obnoxious enough.
Yeah.
But that you're reciting these words that you heard that grown-ups say, I heard your dad's movie opened soft.
Yeah.
You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
The problem with kids is that they don't realize how hilarious it already is that they're kids.
You're doing the talk show at 5. You're doing the Carson with the pen. And this kid is busting balls on the movie opening.
Yeah.
Did you see the documentary, the recent Carson documentary?
No.
I don't know if you hadn't heard about it.
I'd love to see it.
It's on the PBS. It's on the interwebs.
Is there what do you do?
A refill.
Yeah. More water?
Refill. Well, yes. Let's send in there. I see them running out there.
I seem to have finished my delicious water.
Yeah, they threw up a little something on the monitor there to let me know that you may want a. Can we? Yeah, let's take the cup first. Here, let me have you, Kenny. We'll do it this way. Look at this handoff. That doesn't look horrible at all. What are you talking about? There, it got better. This is a good time for me also to maybe talk about
Stamps.com.
GoDaddy. I think we'll let Kenny sit back down in a second. You know, we had Ben Schwartz here. You guys won an Emmy together working on the Jew Hackman opening number.
Yeah.
Jew Hackman.
Did you say Jew Hackman?
I said Jew Hackman.
Well, the weird thing is that you meant to say Gene Hackman possibly.
No, I meant to say Hugh Jackman. I said Jew Hackman. Jew Hackman. That was one of the greatest. That may be the single greatest fuck up of my. Because you know how you become your father and you say everything slightly wrong.
He was
or Homer Simpson.
He was the greatest Catskills comic.
Jew Hackman.
His bit about the borscht
pissing off Hitler. Jew Hackman.
Oh, great! It's Jew Hackman. It's headlining again.
The waiter brings me soup. There's a fly in it. I said, waiter, there's a fly in my soup. He says, shh, everyone will want one. Thank you very much. I'm Jew Hackman.
There's Jew Hackman right there.
I mean, I sometimes I think that if he wasn't Jewish, he wouldn't even be he wouldn't have an act.
Right.
Jew Hackman. It's like half his act.
Why doesn't he talk about how fat he is?
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Is he has this weird he has a boil in the middle of his head.
Where's all the bit about that?
And it's like he has spina bifida. Like, there's so many things.
Spina bifida. This is the first time spina bifida has been mentioned on the show. I want to thank you for that. Yeah, so you and Ben Schwartz wrote for Jew Hackman.
Jew Hackman?
His opening number, or Hugh Jackman as he's known in Australia and throughout most of the parts of the U.S. Hugh Jackman's opening number. We had Ben Schwartz on the show and he talked about it. And I didn't have Jew Hackman loaded in the chamber when he was here. And now I feel an obligation to just keep saying that.
That's amazing. I'm never going to say Hugh Jackman again.
No. And by the way, you're welcome.
I mean, but I'm going to catch more flack for it because I'm just a Polak. I'm not. You get to go like, I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
But Jew Hackman is too funny not to say.
You're forever screwed on that one. Well, let me load up the, there it is now. Give me a moment, please, to share a little bit about GoDaddy.com, if you don't mind. We spread these out throughout the show, so they're not all loaded up. Hey, go to GoDaddy.com, offer just for my fans, get your .com registered for only $5.99. Yes, if you're going to get a new domain name anyways, and you want to set up a new email address, perhaps, the place to go is GoDaddy.com. We'll get to that in a second. It's easy, it's affordable, it's a name you know and trust. It's the one I use, damn it. And people, isn't that what really matters? When you need a website, fan blog, Little League team, fantasy football, whatever, you got to go to GoDaddy.com. For example, did you know DanHartmanLovesHitler.com is available? That's available. KevinPollockIsAPutz.com, also available at this moment. GoDaddy.com is the most popular, most recognized. Go to GoDaddy.com for a limited time. Fans of this show can use a secret promo code and pay only $5.99. That's right. $5.99 for your new domain name registration. If you click directly, keep going there, to GoDaddy.com, type in the code name Kevin599 for the $5.99. Kevin599. And from our home site, just click through the GoDaddy banner to pay $5.99 to register your new .com today. Thank you, GoDaddy.com, for being our sponsor.
I use GoDaddy.com.
Our very own
not available.
guest uses the GoDaddy.com.
Yeah. I used it to reserve danharmon.com, like register it, whatever. I don't know.
Did you?
Yeah. It's not the most exciting
I'll bet
thing,
you
but,
paid more than $5.99, mister.
Yeah, I didn't have the Kevin 599 code.
No, you didn't. But tell me a little about, if you would. I know you said that you paraphrasing, failed for 36 years and then got lucky. You know, of course, that the luck just refers to being put into a situation where someone says yes.
Luck is where preparation meets opportunity, somebody said.
But it's not just trite cliche.
It makes sense. I think that's a great way of, like it's because you never get to call yourself, I don't know, like you do what you do and be good at what you do, know what you love doing, and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And if you die and nobody ever comes along and says, "Here's $5 for doing that," then you were incredibly unlucky. Right. But you weren't stupid. You weren't a loser. So you were doing what you love to do. And we all know people who are way more lucky than talented. But it never lasts. I mean, it doesn't pay off. Right. You can't just have people shower you with opportunity if you're not working hard.
Yeah, there's a weird phenomenon where bad people succeed, but that's a whole other level of human nature problems. If you continue to, let me ask you this, if you wouldn't mind speaking to, because we do get a lot of questions from our audience in terms of, and a lot of the basis of this show was my fascination with people's journey. How did you get from there to here, quite frankly? But support me in the belief that the first couple times you write the same way the first couple times you get on stage. are always going to pale in comparison to your 30th attempt or 300th or 3,000th. So the only way, there's no shortcut, is to just start writing and don't stop.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, just keep at it. Do not fucking stop no matter what.
Yeah.
So along the way, while you're selling a few things to Oliver Stone, we mentioned, I believe, where is it? Zemeckis Monster House, right? So you come up with this pilot that you guys shoot that everyone still goes apeshit for, the Heat Vision and Jack.
Yeah.
Starring Jack Black and Owen Wilson as the voice of Heat Vision, right?
The motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah. Directed by Ben Stiller, and everyone swears by this thing up and down. It's the most odd, original, fantastic, weird, funny, hilarious. And you go through a period afterwards where it ultimately does not get picked up of, well, fuck.
Right.
Really?
I had a nervous breakdown for the first of a few. It was a nervous breakdown makes it sound too exciting,
romantic.
It makes it sound too energetic. It was a depression. I think I lapsed into a horrible depression. I always when I bring this up, I go to this place. This never satisfies anyone for me to say this out loud, and yet I always feel compelled. I have to do this because I have to make people understand what I really mean by depression. After Heat Vision and Jack didn't get picked up, which was basically the first time in my life that finally someone said no to me. Someone said that like everything that I did up till then was always a step upward. It was always like pleasantly surprising somebody with how talented I was for how young I was or whatever, getting a pat on the head and moving to LA and getting this big break, having a pilot shot by Ben Stiller. It just all felt like, wow, this is a perfect, like, natural progression of the way things are supposed to go. And
no stopping me now, Ma.
And it's so funny because it's the most common thing in the world for your pilot not to get picked up. It happens to everyone. It happens more often than it doesn't. And yet I just didn't see it coming.
Right.
Because of the trajectory of my life just felt like I was going this direction. So all of a sudden they're just, nope, we don't want to make this TV show. And I just, I didn't leave my apartment. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Hollywood at the time. And I literally didn't leave my apartment for at least 3 weeks, maybe a month. I know if I left at all, it was maybe getting mail or something like that. And I this is the part that makes people bummed out, but it's necessary for me to say this. I ran out of toilet paper,
sure,
and I didn't want to go to the grocery store to buy toilet paper. I started wiping my ass with T-shirts that were laying on the floor of my apartment,
you know what?
and throwing them in the garbage. Schenectady. I mean, but I always have to bring that. I always have to say that because it's like, can you? Because I can't relate to that. It's like, wait, what does depression have to do with going to the grocery store to buy paper to wipe your ass with? Is that I didn't. It's like depression is it's a weird magical thing. I didn't feel like I deserved toilet paper, or I just didn't want to face the cashier. I don't know what it was, but I just was locked in there for a month. It was emotional devastation.
Until you ran out of shirts.
Yeah. That really was what it was. I was like, I can't. I don't know, what's next? Pants? Then why take them off? Why not just poop in them? And we know where this goes. This happened to Drew Hackman and his when the talkies came out.
I believe they called it the dark years. Yeah.
Drew Hackman was silent film's greatest comedian, but he had a voice like this, and
man could eat Panama.
Couldn't.
So you do finally come out of that dark place.
Never really fully recovered, though, in a certain way. I mean, that has to happen to somebody who's capable of that happening. If you're that fragile, you'll never survive. So obviously, it had to happen to me. But at the same time, I never regained my naivete. Rob and I both always agree, because we wrote that thing in a weekend, and we wrote it from a place of love, and we wrote it from a total place of not understanding how TV works. We just sat down and wrote a script for our what would be our favorite TV show if we were 10 years old. And we know too much. You can never shake learning how TV really works and what people really like and what's going on. You can never regain that joy. That's why busloads of young people get dropped off in LA and the industry thrives on them. It's because it's ironic how we chew them up. Like we value their complete ignorance of how dark and shitty everything is, and we digest it by teaching them how terrible things are, and they turn into 35-year-old hacks, and then we kind of like, put them on that conveyor belt. They just become like showrunners, and then it's the next 23-year-old off the bus that we're more interested in,
Right?
Because he doesn't get it yet. He doesn't know how evil the world is.
What percentage of the time do you think that the Heat Vision and Jack scenario, they actually tap those early 20-year-olds and allow them to do that fun thing that they wanted to see when they were 10? I mean, is it 1 in 1,000? Is it 1 in...
Oh, I don't know. You mean out of the total number
where
of people?
Where if they had said yes. So that's...
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Where you actually
I wouldn't want to meet
something,
that guy.
Where you right? Where you create something from just that pure enjoy of the 10-year-old desire.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. You'll have to ask. Yeah, you'll maybe.
Is there an example you're aware?
I can't think of any. I get the impression that it's sort of an elephant in the room and a big loud secret that way higher percentage than we should be comfortable with of people that work in the industry are kind of like legacy people. So I don't meet a lot of like, oh yeah, I came out off the bus from Milwaukee and then I just did this thing. It's more like, the prodigy stories are like, oh yeah, your dad was the MGM Lion and now you're directing. And if you peel back the onion layers enough, what seems like a wunderkind ends up being like somebody that kind of grew up around it.
Right. Now, in the case of, I want to actually bring in the, one of the things we like to involve the audience in is to have them ask questions through their live forum that Jamie is forwarding to us. It's called a Tweet 5, and Dave Keckner
T5
is right up there.
T5 forever now.
Yeah. Good luck finding a
I
greater...
like to think that he's actually out there.
No, he is. He's just right down this. That was not recorded. So these are 5 rapid-fire questions that are Coke or Pepsi, no correct answer, that are designed specifically for you by the fans.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, there's no correct answer. That's what makes them annoying.
I'll get it wrong. I'll figure out the correct answer.
Okay.
I do everything wrong.
Yeah. This one is from @Russell Hannah.
Ugh.
Number 1, Troy or Abed? Abed.
Abed.
Pillow forts or blanket forts?
Pillow forts, for
Paintball
sure.
season 1 or 2?
Season 1.
Breaking Bad or The Wire?
The Wire.
Superheroes or anti-heroes?
Anti-heroes.
All incorrect.
I nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I want to know if
I love that Dave Keckner came in and recorded that thing for that. That's so random. That's really funny.
He actually sat where you were sitting, and while we were doing the interview, and I kept going to the Tweet 5s, he gave us that little song.
Oh, okay.
As a way to say, give me another Tweet T5.
Oh. So maybe if I come up with something like, Kevin sandwich time.
Okay, now we have that, and we can cut that.
For when we start doing the segments where you eat a sandwich
Yeah.
for 10 minutes. Now we have the rolling.
When we lose our 3 sponsors after today's Hitler Festival. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kevin,
that was bad.
Is there a separate tracks that we can cut out the guests?
Yeah, can we get the stems?
I want to know about you. You have an opportunity, speaking about Right Place, where somebody wants to hear your ideas and you say, well, fuck, how about a show that takes place at community college? Was it then that you went to a community college and did a little research, or you did the research first?
It was previous. The reason why I knew that it was a mainstream idea is because I had experienced what it was emotionally. You talk about, entertaining the folks and being in your attic and doing tap dances and stuff. I think part of that personality is you only live half of a real life. Like other people who aren't infected with that virus, I think they have real friendships a lot earlier than
right.
People who are trying to prove something about themselves. And I was 32, and I was at community college.
Learning Spanish?
Yeah, I was taking a Spanish class with my girlfriend, and she was taking a dance class, and I was also I took biology while I waited for her dance class, and then we took Spanish together. This was my way of saving our relationship. So I thought we'd have homework, and it would be about communication.
And clearly it worked.
No, we broke up shortly after. But while we were there, I was in this biology class, and because I was 32 and I had nothing to lose and I was really interested in biology, so it made me the perfect student. I was just acing all my exams, and these two kids came up to me on a smoke break and said, "Hey, you're number 198 or whatever," like, because it was, they posted the grades. They figured out it was me that was getting all the A+ on the exams, and I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Will you study with us? Because we're only getting C's." And I couldn't say no, but I wanted desperately to say no because I have nothing to gain from that. That sounds like a horrible. Like what? You just want to siphon part of my A into your C? What am I going to get from this? I can't get an A++.
That's what you'll get.
Exactly. I'll be busy teaching you. And but I'm a coward and socially paralyzed, so I said yes. And I met with them after hours in the library in this little tiny study room, and studying with them. And we were studying cellular mitosis. And
Oh, the worst topic ever.
At some point during that study session, I became excited about learning with them, and that they were getting it and I was getting it, and we were getting it together, and that we were all three going to get A's on our exam because we really got cellular mitosis. And I wasn't profiting from any of it. I was already capable of getting an A+ on my own, but I experienced this emotional sensation. First there was that warmth, but more profound than that was the second realization, which was that this should be growing on trees, and it probably is for most people. I am a huge asshole. I have been my head has been up my ass my whole life. I'm 32, and I had to wander into this situation to feel the most common thing in the world, which is giving a shit about the people that live next door to you, kind of like rooting for them, and even though they don't work in the industry or anything. And so I bookmarked that emotional experience because I realized at that point, I was like, oh, this is a mainstream TV show. Community college, fish out of water, Northern Exposure meets Cheers meets whatever. This is that show that they're always waiting for me to pitch instead of robots and time travel. This is that thing that everyone wishes I would write. And my agent and everybody that I pitch. And so I just tucked it away because I was like, I'm going to run out of money pretty soon. And it was a couple years later that, sure enough, I was broke, and I pitched my robot shows, and a guy that I was in a blind deal with, Russ Krasnoff, said, "Yeah, those are great. I'd really like you to make money, though. I'd really like to see you get a house, and like NBC wants to work with you, And I said, oh, yeah. Here's the thing. I went to community college, and this thing. I said, yeah, that's it. It sounds like mainstream television. It was,
right,
for a couple episodes.
But I
had a straight shot at a bullseye, and I fucked it up.
But the thing is, what you did was to create some of the most original scenarios within that otherwise familiar television half-hour comedy setting.
Yeah. Terrible idea. It's like putting poop in popcorn.
Yeah.
No one's ever done this before. Of course not.
Well,
it tastes horrible.
Listen, that's one way of looking at it, which is so greatly healthy.
I told you self-loathing is a form of narcissism.
Yeah. But it also allows me to suggest a slightly askewed scenario where you develop a new audience to your creativity that become devoted, almost religious about what it is you're doing on a regular basis, and whether the number ever grows large enough for the superpowers to celebrate, you find yourself showing up at Comic-Con as a fucking superhero.
Right. I mean, I just had a meeting at FX, and of course they get they're nailing it in their smaller box, which has a more intensified.
Do you watch Always Sunny?
I've seen a couple episodes. I mean, but yeah, I know that it's the funniest thing on TV because all the comedy writers are always talking about it, and That's the thing that they watch. That and Archer. I mean, FX has like the best comedies and dramas.
Louis C.K.'s thing. Holy
they're,
fuck.
I sound like I'm like petitioning for a job over there because I'm currently like shopping around. But the guy John Landgraf is running things over there, and that guy's like he's got he knows what he's doing, and he swears up and down that what he knows to do is nothing. Like
get out of the way.
Everyone says that. All the suits say that. They always say that but that guy at Sony's definition of that is just change it 20%. Landgraf really. I think he's selling himself short when he says he doesn't do anything. I think obviously he's doing something because he's had a good run.
He's gambling, which the other ones aren't. And by giving almost no money, literally, to Louis C.K. and saying you can write, direct, edit, and star, but you have $14 to do it with.
Yeah.
Go. And then Louis has more control than any stand-up comedian in history doing a television show. Gets to do arguably the at times most dangerous and funny stuff with total freedom.
Yeah.
And his only problem is how are we going to make the day?
Right.
Because we don't have the money. But again, that seems like where you want to be once you come through the other end.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't control it. I mean, to get back on that, like when I sat down with the guys at FX, one of the things that Nick Grad, who's also been working there in that Landgraf Empire forever, he said, paraphrasing him, I think misquoting him, but something like, you're never going to create a show that's going to be the 10th favorite thing in the life of 50 million people. What you're capable of doing is creating a show that is the most favorite thing, the number one favorite thing for 5 million people, and that's very valuable. And I would agree.
But that's the world we live in now. It's all niche.
It has to. Everything's been fragmented to like an aerosol mist at this point. There is no more. When you look at the network programming that is generating Nielsen numbers, it's obvious that what's happening is Rome is burning, but in a good way. I mean, that rag is being wrung. The only things left that are generating revenue are things that are event oriented. Right. They're creating new Major League Baseball, like American Idol and The Voice, and things. You have to say someone's going to put their dick in a bucket on the next thing unless you vote and then see if the bucket's there. I think I just came up with a new idea.
Who's taking notes? Can I get this down?
I have 6 phone calls to make. There is no such thing. I mean, the most successful narrative shows are then after that are multi-camera shows, and the humor's gotten crass and rapey and poopy, and they're wringing that rag. As far as getting people to tune in at a specific time, it's ridiculous.
And then you get a show that wins the Emmy for Best Drama an unprecedented 4 years in a row, and it's got barely 1 million viewers.
Yeah. But by 1 million viewers, what we mean is that's the million people, or the 10,000 people that each represent theoretically something, write it in a diary that they watched it. The truth is that everybody's watching everything. I mean, we already know how to count people. We're just not bothering to do it because the money is still only in this old system.
Right.
And they will continue to do it until that money is all gone. They won't. We've seen this over and over and over again. Business models don't change until the last old tycoon drops dead. It won't change.
Right.
They will, because there's this ladder to it. It's at the top of things, people are still making the exact same amount of money that they were making from selling toothpaste during Jackie Gleason. I mean, that work model is still working for those guys. The same amount of money is changing between the same hands. Everyone knows that the Nielsen ratings are not measuring anything anymore, but everyone also knows that those numbers are incredibly valuable, and that they mean money. So everyone's just kind of going along with it, going, okay, we got a 7.9. That's the new 17.9, and so here's your $6 million. And they don't care about quality of content. They don't care. They're just going to finish wringing that rag. Meanwhile, you see the new model developing. You see what Louis C.K. is doing. You see what Vince Gilligan is doing at Breaking Bad. You see these networks that are becoming smaller and creatively intense. You see
AMC launched with one show, a network branded by its first drama.
Yeah, and it's the best show on television. And they work on a completely different schedule, and they don't, you download it, watch it when it's on. Who gives a shit? They're gonna have to figure out how to monetize that system and count those people. But right now it's just this old world wheezing.
Well, the way Mad Men throws up those Buick ads that Slattery's in and also directs, Chrysler suggests. See, that's how effective it is. But it suggests almost a throwback to the original 1950s.
That's exactly what we have to do. We have to do what Jack Benny did. Just step out of the fucking shot and go, I love this mop. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to go be funny again. I obviously, that's a little extreme.
He was the first one to say, go fuck yourself. Oh, man.
It's the worst commercial ever. I don't know why Jack Benny would do that.
Say Hitler.
Yeah, he's the irony is Jack Benny stole most of his stuff from Jew Hackman. It was just old Hackman material. You see the new model is the people who have the money right now just need to understand that they don't need Madison Avenue or the Nielsen's or the studios to help them anymore. If you're General Mills and you make cereal, you have bazillions of dollars. You can just give it to somebody to make a good TV show and say Captain Crunch presents Breaking Bad. That's it. That's all you have to do.
I'm sure you know the story how those soap companies literally created the soap opera.
Yeah,
that was designed by a soap company, not by a network or a production company.
And when there's so much money, then there's always the biosphere is going to expand. They discovered those like heat vents on the bottom of the ocean where there's like magma coming out, and there's like it's the first biosphere we've ever discovered that has nothing to do with the sun. The sun doesn't penetrate down that low, so it's just like completely independent of the sun's energy. There's just like these heat vents that emit this thing, and there's like 3 creatures in this sort of like triad of biology that feed on each other, and they all are based around this like heat vent. Compared to the 8 bazillion things that are happening because of the sun, because it's been going on so long. My parallel being that of course TV had a good run. Of course there was so much money that all this like middle management came into the picture, and it became gospel. This is how you make a TV show. This is how TV works. These are the people that know how to make TV. This is what you have to do. You're sitting here in a warehouse in the middle of God knows where, making a Charlie Rose show that is every bit as professionally. Every once in a while somebody fucks up their microphone, but it's completely unprofessional, and this table looks like shit. But you have vodka instead of water. It's a circus, but it's television. It feels like television,
and it certainly looks like it.
It's the new model.
Yeah.
We just have. There's going to be less money for everybody. More people get to do it. More fans are going to be more intimately satisfied.
$8 billion is a prediction for this year. It was a little over $3 billion last year. So you see the exponential growth of ad sales for internet content. $8 billion in ad revenue.
It's going to be harder to count and harder to identify. How to make that money. It's just. I think the bad guys are losing. That's what's refreshing about it.
Wouldn't that be nice? Let's see. We've got more questions coming from Esposito. Takes a close second.
Giancarlo Esposito is tweeting me.
Are you watching the Breaking Bad? Are you caught up?
I'm not all caught up.
Okay,
so don't spoil me.
Well, no, we'll leave it.
I just got to
favorite one episode of Community Star, guest star. This person, Zach Eaton, was Tobolowsky, but maybe Esposito takes a close second. You did have a ridiculous array.
Yeah.
Was that close?
You're fine.
Okay, thanks. Favorite one episode.
Wash my hands of this.
It says favorite one ep community guest star.
Right. Oh, so a single episode. So that rules out like people like Michael K. Williams who did a couple
many,
episodes.
yes.
John Oliver who did several. John Goodman did several. So
one-offs. One-offs. One-offs.
We had Martin Starr in season 3. We had, who's my favorite one-off? Hillary Duff came by one time.
I think we got our answer, sir. Didn't really have one.
Yeah. Yeah, why are they only doing one? Fuck them. If they only did one, it's because they got the boot.
People may not remember, but when you cast Joel McHale, he was doing the soup at the time, and not a lot of people that I was aware of were thinking, why the fuck isn't Joel McHale starring in his own show?
Right.
So a little window into that moment in time.
Not a lot of people were thinking that, or not a lot of...
In my, to my knowledge, if you were in the TV making world, maybe he was on everyone's list at the time, that you could shine some light on that.
Well, I think it was an obvious, because, you know, he's standing in Greg Kinnear's shoes by hosting that show, even though I'm sure he would hate that comparison. No, he wouldn't.
That Kinnear went on to get an Oscar nomination?
You know, Kinnear went from Kinnear was the original soup host, and then became legit. He became a Tom Hanksian or a Kevin Palakian kind of figure in cinema. So he had a lot of followers that came between that and McHale. But people were always going like, oh, is he going to Kinnear? Is he going to? And when Joel McHale like resurrected Talk Soup and turned it into The Soup,
right.
I think people were going like, oh yeah, now this guy's gonna.
Was he pitched to you?
Yeah. There was a conversation that Russ Krasnoff had with a guy, a manager, because I had said about this character, what are we looking for? I said, Bill Murray, age 25. I think I said. I don't know why 25 is important. And then, so this guy, Russ Krasnoff, who bought the pitch, was developing it with me. He repeated that to a manager on the phone, and the manager said, I got just the guy, Joel McHale. Now, this guy was biased. It was Joel McHale's manager. He wasn't going to say Carrot Top, which is the obvious answer. But he said Joel McHale. It turns out he was as right as he could be. Like I heard McHale's name, and I had just become familiar with McHale via my girlfriend at the time, who was a soup addict. And I was like, well, when I heard his name, I was like, oh, I know that guy. He's funny, but he's smarmy. He's David Spade. It's not going to work because this character has to be a bad person. He has to be Han Solo. He has to be a hooligan, a person who's selfish. And in order to pull that off, you need to have like Harrison Ford kind of like gentleness underneath this warmth. Then McHale came in for the meeting, and we didn't make him read or anything. He just came in, sit on a couch, and talk about acting and stuff. And like 5 seconds into him sitting on the couch, I was like, oh, no, he's playing a character when he's on the soup. He's not that smart.
He's much more damaged.
He's he's much darker and terrible. No, but he's a loving father and husband, and also just like I don't know, he's a human being. He's smart. He grew up poor and like takes acting seriously, and is a very, very practical mind. Approaches his own business as a business. You know, like I'm an actor. That's my job. I show up on time. I know my lines. I make money doing that. I owe it to the audience and my employers to do it right. Like he's just very he's a rare breed. He's like a throwback.
Work ethic.
Feels like Dick Van Dyke or something. So I was like, holy shit, this is the guy, because all he has to do to let that warmth, all he has to do is relax all his muscles, and that warmth will come through. And then it's amazing that he tenses up and becomes this like smarmy, like silver-tongued charmer who has this ability to. That was always my idea with the character, was that like the Hulk would turn into the Hulk twice per episode. My pitch was that twice per episode this character would talk until he changed reality. You know, he had that ability. As he says in the pilot, the character says, when I was a kid, I learned that if I talk long enough, anything can be right or wrong. So he was destined to become a lawyer, and he's a relativist. And the whole point of the story, the show's story, is that he's a relativist that comes into learning about absolute truths by being tied to these weird strangers. Who? What was your question? Stamps.com?
No, let me tell you something. The insights that you're sharing, quite frankly, into character and casting is the answer that I was hoping to get. And the sort of candid flow of your experience is quite honestly
Sexy.
something quite rare and terribly sexy. Not just sexy.
Happy Father's Day, ladies.
Have
you had a baby yet?
I'm a little nervous about just how sexy. And now this clip from Drew Hackman.
A man walks into the grocery store. And that's my wife.
That's why he didn't really work well in the talkies.
It's terrible. Yeah, you can't understand him. It's like mostly gibberish.
He swallowed his words.
He was passing his Yiddish in the Catskills when it was like you were a certain distance from the stage. But
clearly not a Jew.
As professional audio came, people started to realize he's no more a Jew than Mencia was Latino. He was using, I think he was like 8th Jewish. Drew Hackman. His real name was Drew
Miller.
McCoy.
Drew Miller. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. Anybody? Sammy?
Such an 80s reference.
It's time for...
Is it?
Who tweeted?
Roll that intro. Let's do it.
Is there? Oh, thank you. And
Celebrities have so much to say.
who tweeted?
Is the game we're gonna play.
Oh, shit's gonna get exciting now. So this game is called Who Tweeted?
Is it now?
It is! Here's how you play the game.
How the hell does it work?
So one at a time, I'm going to read a series of 8 tweets. All of these tweets were authored by either Tyra, Paris, or Bieber.
All right.
As I begin reading the tweet, as soon as you feel like you know it, go ahead and ring in. You ring in by saying your name.
Tyra Banks, Paris Hilton, or Bieber,
Justin Bieber.
Schlimowitz?
Yes, Bieber Schlomowitz will also accept. You ring in by saying your own name. I will point to you. You have 3 seconds to say Tyra, Paris, Bieber.
Okay.
You ring in, you get it right, you get yourself 5 points. You ring in, you get it wrong, you lose 3.
Ooh.
You will be playing against Kevin. And at the end of this...
Is there a prize?
Whoever wins this fine game will walk away
Whoa.
with this $20 bill.
Andy Jackson, everybody.
Nice.
Andy Jackson. That's how a baseball...
Are you ready, gentlemen?
Is this kind of? This seems this bill kind of almost wants to roll up.
It
that
wants
you
to
took out of
wants to
your-
roll up and roll out the
I think there
door.
might be some Apatow Coke on there.
Interesting choice.
Number 1.
Tweet number 1.
Does everyone have that one song you hear that always makes you think of that one person? Hashtag music makes memories.
Dan Harmon guesses Tyra Banks.
Ooh, I'm sorry, sir.
It seemed too obvious that it would have been Bieber, so it must have been Paris.
It was in fact Paris.
I knew it was the non-music. I knew it was. I
The
forgot. I
non-music.
forgot who the third person was. I knew it was not a musician that would say that.
It's all right.
Bieber's a musician.
It's early. It's early. He's a musician, really?
I don't.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Tweet number 2. Walking out to talk to the ladies at The View TV. I love live television.
Kevin Bieber.
We are tied at -3.
Oh.
Ah.
That was Ms. Tyra Banks.
All right.
Ms. Tyra Banks. Tweet number 3. Life is beautiful. Loving every moment.
Dan. Paris Hilton.
That is correct.
Wow, you went with the opposite game.
Nice.
Yes.
Because it can't be.
Her life is horrible and ugly.
Very
she,
nice.
She blew a dude on camera. Of course she's going to walk on the sunny side of the street.
Oh, yeah.
She has
He's-
cum in her mouth.
He is. He's actually stepping into the body and soul of the tweeter to figure it out.
I'm
That's
trying
impressive.
to imagine. Yeah. Who would
This
I
is
have to be to
impressive.
tweet this? I would have to be famous for blowing someone to say life is great, having a great day.
Tweet number 4. Who you guys got in this series? Hashtag NBA Finals.
Kevin Bieber.
We are tied at
Once
+2.
again.
Ooh, boy. That is correct.
All right, yeah, it had to be him. I don't know why
Correct.
I didn't buzz in.
Tweet number 5. Look at life through the windshield, not the rear view mirror.
Dan, Tyra.
It's a very Oprah thing.
Yeah, she's trying to be Oprah.
Yeah.
Fuck her.
I think.
And that is correct.
Yep.
And that is correct.
Not just well analyzed.
We got ourselves a barn
We
burner
didn't
here,
just justify
boys.
the answer. We gave the right answer.
We got a tight one. Tweet number 6.
Speaking of Bieber, we got a tight one.
The filthiest show we've ever done. 150 episodes. Tweet number 6. It's all about the accessories.
Oh, it's painfully obvious, but can't be that obvious. Kevin Paris. No, it can't be.
That is correct.
Oh my God, it's tied again!
We're tied at 7
That's
apiece.
her. She's having someone writes her tweet.
Right?
Tweet number 7.
2 tweets left. Tie game. Anyone's Andrew Jackson.
About to bring it back to the original way I started.
That's it?
That's it.
Say,
Dan, Bieber.
That is correct.
wow!
Yeah.
Original way I started, he's 18.
Right.
He's got. I'm thinking like who's
got cum on him? Who's
Yeah.
got right?
Oh boy.
Who's watching basketball?
This is exciting.
Okay, now.
I won't do it to you
No,
again.
don't break down the math.
I won't do it
Just
to you again.
give us the final
Tweet
question.
number
Final
8.
tweet.
Barbecue chips. Yum!
Kevin, Tyra.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie game.
I knew. Yeah, I
Don't say
would
it.
have guessed that. Tyra's
Oh boy.
because she's trying to be, like, I'm a
I can eat
model,
whatever
but
I want.
I'm eating barbecue chips.
Yeah.
God damn it, Tyra, are you watching?
We have our first tie in quite a long time. It's a sudden death, I think.
It's sudden death. This is it. The 9th and absolute final tweet. Ring and you get it right, you win. Ring and you get it wrong, you lose.
No pressure there.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. Wait. Is it?
We're tied.
Ring in. You get it.
If you ring in,
Oh, right, yeah.
And you win,
Yeah,
if you- yeah, that's it,
So
sudden
much
death.
to do over what is just essentially playing another round of the game.
here it is. At today's show, I'm up. Let's do it.
Dan, Bieber.
That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. The
I
new
fucking
winner.
love this guy.
He's me. Now I know the appeal. I've never heard a single song, but I love him.
You get the kid now.
Yeah.
Not only do you get the kid,
Congratulations.
you
Thank you.
get yourselves $20 US.
That's Sam
And
Levine,
that is how you
everybody.
play Who Tweeted.
Who tweeted?
Nicely done, sir.
Thank you.
Please be seated. What a barn burner.
Celebrities have so much to say.
Tweet it.
Is the game that we just played.
Been a while.
Well, see? It's not all torture and pressure and questions.
No.
There's fun to be had.
Hey man, do you think I wasn't having fun? I'm like a kid in a candy store.
I'll say. Now tell me, if you will, Dan, if that's your real name.
This is a dream come true.
Let's talk about, as we jump all over the damn place, your sudden realization as you sort of crafted Jeff a certain way. At some point during the run, and people are writing to you that Abed he's got Asperger's, clearly. You find yourself somehow taking an Asperger's test on the interwebs and finding out that maybe you're closer to Abed than Jeff.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. A bad way of putting it would be that because it's such a hip illness. Like I didn't mean to diagnose myself with Asperger's. That's a terrible thing to do.
It's the new autism.
Yeah,
let's be
exactly.
honest.
It's the new gay. It's the new black. It's hey, I got Asperger's.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Drew Hackman wish he had Asperger's.
Yeah, Drew Hackman fucking tried to act like he had Asperger's. He was just a horrendous person. Just bad social skills and never learned to get around. Didn't bother to try.
No.
I think that's a very accurate way of saying it. Is that what happened was The character of Abed was being well responded to by the kind of call it the spectrum community. I don't
Sure.
know.
The audience.
I was curious about it, and I was sort of googling around, and I found these forums and chat rooms and things where people with the so-called affliction were really responding to this character. And I say so-called affliction because I think one of the most interesting things about it is that with spectrum disorders is that there's a lot of people out there who don't consider it an affliction because the definition of an affliction should be that it somehow inhibits you. Whereas actually the inhibition is on the part of other people, and that's why these are people who they're different, and they have a what's called a disorder by a mob of doctors who are basing their standard of perfection on a bell curve.
And they're in the pockets of the pharmaceuticals, anyways.
Sure, fuck those guys. Yeah, I mean,
bit.
let's get real.
Yeah.
But so I was like, okay, these are cool people. These are my kind of people because they're nerdy and they traditionally they love them some Spock and some R2-D2 and some Mork from Ork and any character that you come up with that has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that is weird, and people are trying to tell them you need to be more like normal people, and they're like, I wish I could, but I can't. Data from Star Trek, The Next Generation. What I noticed is that they really liked this Abed character, and they considered him a refreshing portrayal of someone with their so-called disorder because he one of the most important things about him to them was that he didn't have Pinocchio syndrome. He didn't wish, he wasn't like I really if only I could have an emotion chip and be like all the normal boys and girls. He was what he was, and he was okay with it, and it was up to other people to figure out how to deal with him, and they really liked that a lot. I something about it just rang with me, and I was like, I don't want to let these people down ever. They don't get a lot of role models on TV, and I know how important that is.
But had they also got your character that you created? Had they in fact related to your creation?
What do you mean?
Well, by your design of the Abed character.
I mean, I wanted the character to. It was sort of very, very loosely based on my actual friend Abed, who was a Channel 101 guy who,
pop culture references.
It was like sort of the real life Abed is for him. It's all about music. Like he's a human iPod. He kind of like he loves talking about music, and then his sort of like he has emotional gloves on, like he's not as sensitive to social cues. It's not as obvious to him when he's the last one at the party and you're like washing dishes and kind of like, okay, you can leave now. He'll never pick up on that. But at the same time, he's like really good at like alphabetizing things or like talking to you about music. He knows all the bands and he has an encyclopedic knowledge of certain things, and it was just very, very loosely based on that friend of mine. I wanted a character like that, but more importantly, in a meta sense, to use that overused word, I wanted to smuggle in a character that would allow me to not have to compete with Chuck Lorre. In other words, I needed a character that was able to say, this feels an awful lot like a fucking sitcom. Has anyone noticed that? Because if I didn't have somebody smuggled in the back door that was able to do that, I wasn't going to be able to keep writing a sitcom. It doesn't make any sense. After 5 episodes or so, what is going on? Why are we doing this? What is the meaning of all of this? Which is something that everyone always asks themselves in real life. So you have that opportunity to actually like be realistic, and it's the oddest thing in the world to me that self-consciousness, self-awareness of a media is viewed as a niche thing when ancient Greek mythology that's all it is people walking around and going like, hey, what's going to happen to me 3 days from now? You're going to get killed by a guy with 1 sandal. All right, that's it. Everyone with 1 sandal, get the fuck out. Because you did that, you died, and your sandal was off. And like it's all meta. It's all it's a Greek prefix, meta. It means just like all it means is if your painting's going to be framed, make the frame part of the painting. Be conscious of the fact that it's going to be hanging in a museum when you paint it, so that the people that walk into the museum can really connect with you.
Well, that was part of the question, actually. As you created the Abed character and he took on more of a life through episode and dialogue meets actor, and it starts to inform you, the writer, on how to continue the evolution. Are you, in fact, creating the frame for the painting, knowing that this character is relatable to me, but he's also relatable to people who think like me, which is, I need to smuggle in someone who says, this feels like a sitcom.
Right.
That's going to tap in, like Heat Vision and Jack,
Right.
where this is a show I want to see when I'm 10 years old. Now I've got the Trojan horse in,
Right.
and it's becoming the show I wanted to see when I was 10.
Right. I mean, I definitely never, when I was pitching the show to NBC, I certainly never thought
No.
in my head, I can't wait to piss these people off.
But once you're in.
Yeah. I mean, it just happened because I'm just, what happened is that toward the end of the first season, after fighting internally with everybody that wanted to control the direction of the show, because all they basically did was, the scene in the Heath Ledger Batman movie where the Joker snaps a pool cue in half and throws it on the floor and says, we're gonna have auditions. That's what NBC and Sony did with everyone that thought they were running the show for a season. They wanted to just see who was going to end up controlling it because they didn't know who should. I created it, but I'm a maniac. The Russo brothers were directors, but they had more experience, and they did the Arrested Development. They had that pedigree. Neil Goldman and Garrett Donovan had worked on Scrubs for 8 years. They were brought in as my number twos, but in the reality, all of these people were told, this is your show. This is going to be your show. I was told that. Neil and Garrett were told that, and the Russo brothers were told that. And so the first season is like
struggle.
It's every day is the Ides of March, and everyone's Caesar, and everyone's stabbing everybody.
Holy fuck.
And while that's happening, we're just kind of clunking along with this respectable single camera sitcom. Toward the end of that season, NBC ordered 3 extra episodes. Those 3 extra episodes that they ordered, because we were kind of under the gun to make them, they became, I believe, the Scorsese-themed Chicken Fingers episode, the paintball episode, and there was a third one. I think it was a food fight episode. I'm referring to these you're going, oh yes, of course, the Chicken Fingers episode.
Jamie knows exactly.
These were, for a community fan will recognize those as okay, first season sort of that. There was a plot point there where the show started to catch critical attention because we started to do something different. The Scorsese episode in particular, I thought was a real triumph because it begins as a normal episode, and then partway into it, Abed says to Jeff, "So we'll be like gangsters. It'll be like a gangster movie." And Jeff kind of blows him off and goes, "Yeah, Abed, it'll be exactly like a gangster movie." But then Abed freeze frames, and his voiceover comes in, and it says, "All my life, I've always wanted to be in a gangster movie," doing that Henry Hill voiceover from Goodfellas. And then the rest of the episode is Abed's interpretation of the events done in this Scorsese style. And so it was a great triumph because it wasn't like Moonlighting where all of a sudden you tune in and they're just fucking around because they're bored. All of a sudden they're just doing Taming of the Shrew just to do it. It was not conceptual in the true sense of it. I didn't break the fourth wall. There was a reason why this character was choosing to put a hat on the camera and say, we're going to look at things this way. And I've always used that character to do those things. That is what I wanted to be able to do with that character. He's the reason we were able to do a stop motion animated Christmas episode the following season, things like that, because but what happened is, alongside of that, the interesting personal thing that happened, I think, is that, I didn't want to disappoint these Aspies who were responding so well to this character. So I also didn't want to diagnose him on camera. I mean, it's incredibly difficult to diagnose adult Asperger's. It can take forever. It can take a decade because you can recognize it in children. But what happens is this is a disorder that it's a functional thing. Like those people aren't handicapped; they're just different, and they learn to blend. The same way if there's something wrong with your leg and you kind of like you start walking differently, like. They just become like these weird like personalities that cope in all these different ways. You can't tell one from it. There's no similarity among them.
Adapt, assimilate.
They're just it's and so it becomes like this thing where it's like, well, is it a disorder at all, or are we just diagnosing being weird, being exceptional? A lot of that happen. They talk about that in their communities on the internet, and as I said, I just didn't want to do wrong by these people. And so I researched this thing just to make sure I never did something like have Abed say he loves pickles, and then it's like everybody knows that nobody with any form of mild autism or any spectrum disorder, okay, you can't stand any briny food or cucumber-based product. Now he blew it. That was the impulse. So it's like, just make sure you got this right. You got a handle on what this is. And so I researched it, and then it just started sounding awful familiar. But I do think that, I mean, we've all done this before. If you Google bump on my neck cancer,
right.
Because you got a bump on your neck, you're going to find out the bump on your neck is cancer, whether it is or isn't. The internet is real good for that. Yeah. So I know I'm not normal, but I think the important thing is that like as you put it, I think is the best way to put it. I started to discover that I had a lot more in common with this with Abed than I did with Jeff. Jeff was originally me. The idea that the sexy version of me, there's the idea that, as I said before, like, if I talk long enough, I can make anything right or wrong. I have this like Hulk mouth that I just activate, and I just like mesmerize people, and I have to learn how to, even though that makes me not believe in God or not believe in right or wrong and not believe in love, I'm going to learn all these things because I'm with these knuckleheads. And that, you can see the transition happening in the Chicken Fingers episode. In the first season, it's a conversation between Jeff and Abed in the kitchen at the end of the episode, and they're talking, and they make a deal that Jeff characterizes as, well, let's be like Knight Rider, like meaning that Abed can be the car and he can be the David Hasselhoff. It's like, let's help each other. Like you be smart and weird, and I'll be human. Like you help me, like point me in the right direction, and I'll do the talking. And Abed misinterprets it, and it's a real hoot. But it's in that moment, in that conversation, that the transition happens.
Right.
Because I don't walk away from that scene identifying with the sexy Irish guy anymore. I am now the weird Indian kid after that episode. So, and then second season started, and I was kind of like him the whole time.
But Abed sort of represented a lot of what you were describing in terms of where you were at when you met Rob, what your interests were. That part of you that has evolved, and he represented the Trojan horse of getting you inside the network sitcom world. That part of this story is absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. No, truly, it is. It allowed you to thrive creatively, and also to sort of transition away from the fantasy of being Han Solo to celebrating
being R2-D2.
No, but I mean being the far more complex.
Right.
And also, by the way, Abed's crazy charming in his way.
Well, of course. Yeah. Everybody wants to. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have self-esteem issues. Like, that's the interesting thing about him, is that he likes being the way he is. He's just frustrated with his alienation. He loves people. This is the thing that I think is the most important, profound thing. And please, somebody tweet in or call or correct me if I'm wrong. But out of all, there are disorders, afflictions, whatever you call them, head injuries that can cause people to like eating poop. There are people who sleep with corpses. There are people who get turned on by women stepping on their face. There are people who want to fuck teddy bears. There are people who eat dirt. There are people who murder children. There is no such thing. There's no twisting of the mind possible that has ever resulted in any person wanting to be alone. They're liking solitude. You take hardcore rapists, serial killers, the homicidal maniacs, and you put them in solitary confinement, and they immediately start losing their mind. They beg and cry to be put around other people. They'll rape and kill them, but they want the company. We are a social mammal, to taken to such extremes that there's nothing like it on Earth. So you can kind of see similarities in chimps and things, but even they don't get along quite as well. They don't have this sort of natural instinct for cooperation, compassion. Yeah. The things that we think are fake conceits, they're genetic, like they're in us. We are different because we want each other to succeed, and we don't do it all the time, but we are known to sacrifice ourselves for each other, and it's amazing. So you take a character like Abed and you go, you know what's really cool about this is that he's not just some dick like every single character on that show. The one thing they have in common is that they'd rather be with each other than be alone. And Abed is his condition is he's just afraid. Kids that grow up with Asperger's, the most common link we can find with them is frustration. Fear of alienation, the fear of being outcast, because we all feel that. They grow up with it. Their personalities are formed in this crucible of constantly, they just have every day, 5 times a day, somebody points at them and says, "What are you doing?" And they find out that their pants are around their ankles, and you're not supposed to do that when you pee. You're supposed to only pull them down enough to put your wiener out. It's some social custom that they didn't pick up on or understand, and they were the last person to realize that they've been doing it wrong the whole time. And they feel humiliation, they feel terror, because there's nothing worse you can do to a human being than threaten them with kicking them out. Actually,
well, the question of what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Those sort of messages have been sent by family members, either patriarch or matriarch or siblings, as a way to either judge or compete. So I think there's this inherent social disorder that is in all of us because of that upbringing of someone along the way of alleged authoritative plateaus.
Well, we all
saying,
had
what
to,
the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, we all had to not step in traffic and not touch hot stoves. We all have to learn that you can't call a door an elephant. Otherwise, people won't know what the fuck you're talking about. So we often characterize being told what to do as a bad thing. But the truth is, door, elephant.
Not, you're saying. Door's
right,
not.
No. Sorry. I'm sorry about that. You've been doing knock-knock jokes wrong the whole time. But we want our parents to approve of us, and they're the agents of, like, all of us, Asperger's or not, we all experience that primal, like, humiliation of somebody going, "What the fuck, man? What are you doing?"
But not just doing something incorrectly. You know what I mean? I think there's something now inherent, not now, but always inherent in the social environment, where somewhere along the way, someone in your life, or several people, either competitiveness at school,
right.
Now it's this huge bully movement or acknowledgement of a forever lasting bully movement. Someone in a position of alleged power or self-imposed power saying, "You're an idiot."
Yeah, usually a mob. If it's an individual person, it's just somebody who's been vested with the authority of the mob.
Right.
You know, it's a popular kid or a bully that everyone fears, so they have the backing.
How many people you know though that do better walking into a social situation after a drink or something that relaxes their crack?
Yeah. How many people? Yeah.
I mean, how high is that percentage?
Yeah.
So there's a form of human instinct. You say the Asperger's come up with frustration basically every day about about being accepted. So I think I'm venturing into that's in human nature already.
Yeah, definitely. That's there are people that we call kleptomaniacs, but we all know what it feels like to want to steal something. There are people that we call stutterers, but we've all been tongue-tied. So a character like Abed, or so like the thing that they represent is the part of us. All of us feel like weirdos. We all are kept in line by our terror of being outcast. It's the force that pushes us together. We don't want to be that last person like left out in the rain. Like we know we'll die.
So, yeah, you don't want to be called out for being a Disney enthusiast. I think that's where we've come full circle.
Did you see how I laid into that poor girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, just accept me, like kill her.
So that was your way of asking for acceptance.
Yes.
Man, you were fucked up.
It's fascism. I found a scapegoat.
Yeah.
That brings us back to Hitler.
You found
Stamps.com.
No, that's perfect setup for mangreat.com. This Father's Day, there's only one perfect gift. It's the Man-Grate Grill Enhancement System. What's a Man-Grate, you ask? Shut up. Man-Grates are 100% made in America cast iron grilling grates. These heavy-duty grilling grates deliver exactly what you need to achieve that steakhouse flavor you have been looking for. With Man-Grate's patented design, chicken, steak, or veggies will have never tasted so good. No more flare-ups, no more dry meats, guaranteed. Take advantage of our $20 Kevin Pollak's Chat Show special today by clicking on the Man-Grate banner at kevinpollakschatshow.com as a bonus. Every KevinPollaksChatShow.com order comes with a heavy-duty Man-Grate grilling brush. That grilling brush, by the way, is sweet. I've got one. 100% made in America, 100% cast iron, 100% steakhouse quality grilling in your backyard. $20 Kevin Pollak's Chat Show special. Click now on the Man-Grate banner at KevinPollaksChatShow.com to order today. You didn't feel the complete and total commitment? You thought that was my ass vibrating? What was that?
I just thought it was weird when you said there was something weird about how you said, I've got one. And you kind of I thought you were going to fart or something. Like, it felt like it was a...
No, there was a Man-Grate grill I'm sitting on. Yeah, I felt the heat under my sphincter.
I hope your show is typified by descents into whatever just happened right before that Man-Grate commercial where I was babbling about Asperger's and alienation.
Yeah, I don't think babbling's the word we're looking for.
Did LeVar Burton...
He got there, but it involved a little more stars and space. Yeah, but he got there. Don't think he didn't.
Okay, good.
Do you want to talk briefly about Ricky and Morty, or no? Too early.
There's nothing to plug yet. I'm doing a pilot for Adult Swim. It's very exciting.
How early in the process are you?
It's animation, which is a whole new weird world for me. What we call pre-production and live action, they call post-production, and vice versa. And we are now in the stage where the poor people in Canada that are drawing the in-betweeny cells are finishing up their work, and the pilot is basically finished, and we're just patching in the drawings. Fascinating, Dan Harmon.
No, it is.
The
those of us that don't know how the shit works.
The last thing we will have to do is mix the audio and add the music and.
But you've already done all the recording.
All the writing, all the recording, and enough to know that it's really cool, and I'm really excited about it. I'm hoping Adult Swim is acting like they're going to start trying to invade prime time, like they're going to put stuff at 10 o'clock and start like branching out.
We just went to the screening last night of the new season of Children's Hospital, and holy fuck, are they doing some hilarious shit.
That's a really funny show. It's always refreshing when you can just like, it's great to watch people just go for comedy,
right?
And like not have to worry about like what that watering down thing is like. It comes from an impulse to make everything last forever,
right?
But it's nice when it's just like, what's funny?
Yeah,
let's do that.
What's absurd? What's funny? What's silly?
I love Rob Corddry. He's like smart and funny and kind and honest, and like I really wish I could marry him.
All right. Well, in lieu of marrying him, you could go to Hulu.com to watch the interview we conducted with him at this very table.
Yes, Hulu.com. 20 years of experience and a rich tradition of broadcasting videos. I have one.
I want you to start preparing your Larry King game. That will be your camera. I'm going to go over the rules again. I'm looking for a bad Larry King impression. I'm looking for that moment where Larry shares too much information about himself, any topic at all, dating back to prehistoric times, it being Larry. And then go to the phones if the name of the city is funny sounding. It's not going to hurt. There's your camera when you're ready. These are prop glasses if you need them.
Great.
If you need them.
So he kind of like hunches, right?
He's a huncher.
Thank you so much for talking about skin conditions. My daughter has an enlarged clitoris with a skin flap shaped like a helicopter propeller. She once achieved an altitude of 6 inches. Poughkeepsie, you're on the air. That was terrible. Can I do another one?
Sure.
Oh, wait, you can't. No, it's live.
That's why it's perfect for you to do another one. I'm going to bank this. Yeah.
I mean, the problem that I can't figure out what he's supposed to be talking about before he does the thing. I need a beginning.
Well,
you can't just start with him saying the wrong
thing.
You
came out of an interview with Lola Falana.
Okay. Lovely actress. Thank you so much for coming by. We were thrilled to have her. Who could forget her on the silver screen? I had something removed from me yesterday that may be sentient. Flagstaff, Arizona.
I think you found your comfort zone. Thank you very much.
Jesus, those are not prop glasses.
Those are reading glasses.
I now need them.
Thank you so very, very much.
All right.
Honestly and truly. Does it feel like 2 hours? Because that's what we just spent
Jesus
together.
Christ. Yeah. Happy Father's Day, Dad. I'm sorry. I babble. I hope that...
that's what this show is.
Oof.
That's how we get 2 hours. I've got to get you to babble. If you don't babble, I'm
It was
fucked.
insane to be here.
Well,
you were in Usual Suspects.
Well,
fucking weird to
now
be
we've come full circle.
hanging out.
He was also on Men at Work this week. Fantastic job.
Thank
by
you.
the
Thursday
way.
night I did a little solid over there on the
What?
TBS.
What kind of accent was that?
None of your fucking business.
All right, I was just curious.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Shit disturber. There's a Yiddish name for shit disturber. You know what it is? Schmendrick. The nickname that I've carried with me these last 50 years. All right. Sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things up for the audience at home.
Schmendrick was Jew Hackman's first album.
There's our closer.
There you go.
All right. I want to thank Dr. Chen here in the studio for keeping the teleprompter moving and communicating to the outside world. Sammy and Jamie, thanks for everything you do to help us get through. Outside there, we've got the Josh Negrin, the Jason McIntyre, and of course, Justin Weiss, who is going to come by my home afterwards and try to correct a audio-visual problem with the home.
That was possibly caused by J-Mac.
That was probably caused by J-Mac, who just sat on the couch and hit a button. That's all he did.
Wow.
Yeah. Samantha Ward on makeup, Elaine Ewing on social media, and Adam, our intern, still not found. We're taking next week off so I can go to Kansas City and help out a little charity action there with the Sudeikis, Rudd, and Riggle, along with Sam Levine and many other
highfalutin celebrities.
Highfalutin celebs. And come back with Phil Rosenthal on live on July 1st. Many to come, and thanks as always for all that you do to contribute to the show. It's much appreciated. So I say once again, as always, until next time, get out of my face.
Close enough.